Hello everyone, welcome to Channel 96. Today we are going to discuss historically black colleges. We're going to answer 4 questions about these colleges. These questions being, how did society limit these people's rights at the time? What happened during the event? Who was involved? And finally, how did these colleges help shape the way rights were changed? African Americans tried to gain more freedom during the late 1800s, early 1900s, which this was around the time when the Civil War ended. So slavery was abolished, of course, and black men could vote, but there was still unfairness, such as segregation. Now, with segregation, it would be things such as separate water fountains from blacks and whites, different bus seats, and different schools. So let's look back at one of the main questions we asked earlier on. How did society limit the rights of people going here at the time? Well, separate schools. Blacks and whites had to go to different schools, no matter where the schools were. If the schools were the black schools, if they were all the way across their neighborhood or wherever they lived, they had to go over there. They could not go to, if there was a white school closer, they couldn't go there. So around the time of these colleges, this was around the end of the American Civil War. Well, these colleges were mainly in the South because there was less freedom among the African American population in that area. So yeah, there was more schools there to separate. And they ended due to the Brown versus Board trial. Historically, the colleges gave African Americans more rights to education and more freedom than what they originally had, which is quite nice.
There's 12 historically black colleges in North Carolina, which include Barbara Scotia, Bennett, Elizabeth City State, Fayetteville State, Johnson C. Smith, Cottrell, Winston-Salem State, Livingstone, St. Augustine, and NC A&T State University, which is the most popular historically black college, which has 14,000 students per year, 81% being African American. The most modern historically black is NC Central, which was a liberal arts school made for African Americans in 1910, which has a 75% African American population. Shaw University was the first historically black college. It was made in 1865, which right now has a 59% African American section. We'll now have an interview from Ella Baker, a past student from Shaw University. Hello, how are you?
Great!
What college did you attend?
I attended Shaw University in 1918 to 1927. I was the top student, which is known as the valedictorian. In this school, I would speak about equality to the school to bring attention to it, so people knew. And this led to me wanting to become a civil rights activist.
What accomplishments are you most proud of?
Well, I did help the New York education improve the quality of colored schools. I co-founded the In Friendship to raise funds for civil rights, and I also organized the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, which is the most prominent advocate for human rights in all of America.
Wait, anything else you want to tell us about?
Oh yeah, so I would help found Southern Christian Leadership Conferences with other colored ministries, which helped, Christian churches out, especially within the colored community. And I was actually director when Martin Luther King Jr. was president, and me and him were pretty good friends, which is quite nice to think about. That's also kind of why I'm so popular, which makes me happy. And it was such an honor to be a well-known human rights activist. I enjoy people. They take inspiration from me. It's just amazing.
Thank you so much for your time. Have a good day.
Now
now for a commercial break from our presidential candidates. John Pork claims he is the chosen one for our country. He has committed multiple acts of violence, such as being involved in gang activity. He's also dating his cousin, which, by the way, is an act of incest. John Pork calls people on the phone all the time. Yes, that's right, phone calls. Pork will call people and almost brainwash them into voting for him. Here's a clip on what this beast said.
Hey, look at this piece of bacon.
Oh my god, that bacon looks great.
Oh,
Oh my god. Whoa, that's John Pork.
what?
It's about killing the pigs because you are responsible to keep your eating out.
Oh my god. He is nothing but a fraud and a body shamer. John wants all Americans to turn into pigs so pork will no longer be eaten. Here's a message from a former pork worker.
Y'all, I worked for John Pork for many years thinking this guy was a good man. No, this is what he did to my family. You see that? That's my mom and my siblings. They're all pigs. This is what John Pork does to society. He turns them into pigs. That's what he's gonna do if he's in office.
This poor farmer had to go through tons of pain. That's what John Pork does to innocent people. This is what you would look like if John Pork were president. John Pork has corrupted millions of Americans. So we present the excellent Brent Peterson. If you vote for Brent, you will look like this. Brent Peterson has promised to allow freedom of food and no more violent phone calls from suspicious callers. He will use his amazing guitar skills to bring America back to life.
Vote for me, President of the United States. I am Brent Peterson.
Sponsored by Brent Peterson.
Historically, black colleges have always been very important, but they're important because they gave African Americans new chances in education. To us, now, they're just known as historically black colleges, but back in the day, they were known as opportunities of hope and freedom. Thank you so much for watching on Channel 96.
Good night, folks, from Channel
96.